Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Surgery and Rehabilitation Hospital. My name is Carol Smith. Can you hear me okay? Okay. My name is Carol Smith. I am a vice president at WellSpan Health. I also am honored to serve as the president here at Surgery and Rehabilitation Hospital. Today is definitely a special occasion marking the discharge of Lieutenant Godfrey. This moment is actually within a month of the tragic police in New York County, and certainly recovery. I want to express my deep appreciation for all of my WellSpan colleagues that I see in the room, as well as the members of the Sheriff's Department. So I would just want to welcome all of you. I want to give a very special welcome to Dave's daughter, Brittany. Welcome. As well as our state senators, Don Kiefer and Kristen Phillips-Hill, our state representative, Seth Grove, our York County Commissioners, Julie Wheeler, Scott Burford, and Doug Hoke, as well as sitting beside me, Sheriff Keelufer. So welcome and thank you. I'd also like to introduce the colleagues at the table and at the microphone. At the end of the table, Dr. Josh Hazelton, who is the Chief of Trauma Surgery at York WellSpan Hospital. Next to him is Dr. Brian Wynn. He is the physiatrist here at Surgery and Rehabilitation Hospital. And then certainly, last but not least, Lieutenant Godfrey. So our panelist will say a few remarks. So we will hear from both physicians. We will hear from Dave. We will hear from the sheriff. And then we will certainly open it up to the room and then our media colleagues to ask questions. Okay? All right. Dr. Hazelton.
Great, thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Good afternoon. As mentioned, my name is Dr. Josh Hazelton. I'm the Chief of Trauma Surgery at WellSpan York. I'm going to provide a brief overview of the care rendered to Lieutenant Godfrey during his initial arrival and his inpatient course while he was in the hospital. So on September 17th, our Level 1 Trauma Center was notified of a shooting incident with several wounded individuals, one of whom was Lieutenant Godfrey. At the scene, initial care was rendered by his fellow officers, WellSpan Ground EMS, Hanover Fire and Rescue, and Stat Medevac. The Stat Medevac helicopter was called to transport him to our hospital. During that 8-minute helicopter transport to our facility, the pre-hospital providers in that helicopter placed several tourniquets on Lieutenant Godfrey's legs to control hemorrhage. They transfused 2 units of blood and gave him medications to help slow internal bleeding. We estimate that Lieutenant Godfrey arrived to our trauma bay within 1 hour of his injury. Prior to arriving to WellSpan York Hospital, our trauma team was assembled in the trauma bay. This team consisted of trauma surgeons, ED physicians, numerous resident physicians, X-ray technologists, pharmacists, phlebotomists, trauma technicians, and both ER and ICU nurses. Upon arrival to the trauma bay, Lieutenant Godfrey was unstable and in hemorrhagic shock. Essentially, he was bleeding to death. He was awake at the time and speaking to the trauma team. Large IV catheters were placed, additional blood transfusions were given, and our massive blood transfusion protocol was initiated. Numerous wounds to his torso, abdomen, and lower extremities were identified, and it was determined that he needed emergency surgery. The lieutenant proceeded to the operating room in just about 15 minutes from time of arrival. In the operating room, 2 trauma surgeons, along with a team of nurses, anesthesia providers, worked to stabilize Lieutenant Godfrey. Multiple internal injuries were identified in his abdomen, along with numerous soft tissue extremity injuries to both legs. The operative surgeons were able to control the hemorrhage and stabilize Lieutenant Godfrey. Due to the extent of his injuries, once he was stabilized, the operation was halted and was brought to the trauma intensive care unit for more blood transfusions and stabilization. Lieutenant Godfrey remained sedated and on a ventilator during this time. In total, Lieutenant Godfrey received over a dozen units of blood products. The next day, he was brought back to the operating room, and due to the extent of his injuries, a second thorough evaluation was undertaken. At that time, no additional injuries were found, and his abdominal incision was closed. He was again transferred back to our trauma ICU, where the trauma intensivist was ultimately able to take him off the ventilator. With ongoing therapy and nursing care while an inpatient, his condition improved and he was ultimately transitioned to care on our medical surgical floor. Lieutenant spent approximately 16 days as an inpatient at the hospital. He was then stable to be transferred to the WellSpan Surgical and Rehab Hospital under the care of my colleague, who I'll introduce next. On behalf of myself, and I'm sure Lieutenant Godfrey and his family, I'd like to offer my extreme gratitude to every member of our trauma team, which includes EMS personnel, physicians, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, technicians, laboratory, radiology specialists, pharmacists, anesthesia providers, therapists, and really most of all the nurses who cared for him. You know, as a trauma surgeon, we don't wish for injury or accident to occur, but as a level 1 trauma center, these are the resources that we have, and we're proud to offer that to the community. So, thank you. And Dr. Nguyen is going to speak next.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Brian Nguyen. I am the physiatrist, the rehabilitation doctor taking care of Lieutenant Godfrey here at the WellSpan Surgery and Rehabilitation Hospital. First and foremost, I need to commend Dr. Hazelton and the entirety of the medical team at WellSpan York Hospital. If not for their timeliness and life-saving efforts, we likely would not be sitting here today. They took great care of Lieutenant Godfrey. They stabilized him and transitioned him safely over to our hospital. 2 weeks ago, Lieutenant Godfrey was admitted to our WellSpan Surgery and Rehab Hospital. This is a comprehensive acute inpatient rehabilitation center, and we care for patients with a wide range of disabling conditions. We have a team of physiatrists, such as myself, hospitalists, case managers, therapists, and rehab nursing. I'm proud to say that at every single level, our team members are deeply committed to the work that they do for our patients, even adding a personal touch. Over the last 2 weeks, I've kept a close eye on Lieutenant Godfrey, monitoring his medical status. We've even shared some joy and connection through some of my card magic. Our nurses have provided excellent care with their wound care on a daily basis. A special recognition goes to Dr. Sean Terry for keeping a close eye and giving guidance on the wound care as well. And of course, there's therapy. Lieutenant Godfrey has worked hard with our physical and occupational therapists, putting in intensive daily therapy 3 hours each day, working in the areas of self-care, transfers, and ambulation. Now, he is still dealing with a nerve injury to his left leg, causing weakness and numbness, but I am optimistic of his prognosis, as over the last couple of weeks we have seen return in his motor function. Through the work with therapy, we have arrived at the usage of a brace, allowing for stability in his ankle and foot. Typically, when patients leave our hospital, they may be, especially with this level of injury, they may be leaving with a wheelchair, a walker, maybe even a cane. But as you all saw today, Lieutenant Godfrey walked into this room with nothing but the brace and his own 2 feet. And I think that is a testament to the work ethic, the grit, and the strength that he showed, which you can see in the photos that were sent out last week. We have a saying here at the WellSpan Surgery and Rehab Hospital at this point, which is that the journey continues. And for me, that means a couple of different things. First, as Lieutenant Godfrey leaves today, he is going to have the full support of medical subspecialties all available within WellSpan. And further, he is going to come right back here for continued recovery in our outpatient therapy. But even more important, today, the journey continues. Because through the collaborative efforts between WellSpan York Hospital and WellSpan Surgery and Rehab Hospital, today, we're getting Lieutenant Godfrey home, back to his family and back to the community that has rallied around him. And finally, to Lieutenant Godfrey, to the officers of York County and the York County Sheriff's Office, on behalf of myself, Dr. Hazelton, and WellSpan Health, it has been our honor to serve you. Lieutenant, congratulations. You're going home. Thank you, everyone. And next, I would like to hand it off to Sheriff Kuehleber.
Well, first of all, this is about Dave. And Dave, you're a fighter. You showed that. We've been together a long time, my friend. And I want to thank the hospital staff, the community, all the prayers, all the well wishes. None of this would have been possible because it was God's intervention. You're with us today. and obviously the team that was here. Thank you for that. Turn it over to Dave.
Board, I could not have pulled through without it. It meant so much to me. And on a personal note, it's very humbling. You know, when you do this job, you do it because you just want to help. And that's how I've always operated. And it's very humbling to hear the stories and see, you know, what people are writing about you, because you don't do it for that. You do it because, you know, that's just what you're supposed to do. So that's the first thing to thank everyone. And then I want to give a huge shout out to WellSpan as a whole. York County, I do not think they really understand how lucky they are to have the professional organization of WellSpan that we have. My wife's worked for WellSpan for 25 years, so I know about WellSpan, but actually receiving the care like I have, every step of the process, every group that I interacted with, nursing aides, doctors, the trauma teams, everybody. They are a well-oiled machine. They know their business. They are a quality, great unit, and we should be very proud of that. And I've noticed that everybody does it because they love to do the job. They don't do it because it's their job. They do it because they truly do love it on every level. I was asked who I wanted here. I did call out a couple people, Jolene and Emily, because I think the last 2 weeks I've caused them the most stress with my therapy, trying to push them as they're pushing me. But if I wanted to pick anyone, it would be everybody that I interacted with, which I know the hospital wouldn't shut everybody down so they could be here, but everybody has been great. I cannot say enough good things about every step and every element of York Hospital and WellSpan. We're very blessed to have this level of care in our community.
With that, I think we'll open it up to questions. Any members of the media have any questions? Sir.
Lieutenant Godfrey, how cognizant were you of the reality that, like the other officers involved, when we heard your name, folks know you, and is that something that was in your mind? And I should ask you also, did that enter your decision to come forward with this? We know the other injured officer preferred his privacy, and you're doing this all the very public names.
You know, I felt the duty to find myself in the community so deep over the past 25 years. And it was getting out anyway, because like you said, people know. So it was for both reasons.
And then Dr. Nguyen already confirmed that his card tricks played a part in all this, along with all the other things that got credit. We've seen those in the past. Tell me about that.
All the doctors, for starters, in the bedside manner have been great, but to see Dr. Nguyen every morning, he'd come in and he would come in with a card trick. And me always trying to beat somebody at the game and figuring it out, he stumped me every time. He's pretty good.
Thank you.
Alex from CBS, it's nice to meet you. Obviously, we've heard about your miraculous recovery from a physical standpoint. How are you doing emotionally today?
I'm good. I'm very sure. Everybody here that's been dealing with me, that's the generic response that they get is, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Mark.
Dave, really good to see you. Just curious if you remember anything about the day, September 17th?
I do, but because it's an ongoing investigation, you know, I can't comment on anything right now.
Could you tell us, what were you doing prior to being called out to that scene, being called to assist the detectives in your search?
So I'm also a master trainer with canines, and we were conducting a 6-week canine academy. We were in our last week, and we were actually training and certifying 2 canines from Chester County, 1 from the York City School Police, and then also 1 from the York County Prison.
Marcy.
I mean, we've just seen thousands and thousands of people wishing for your recovery as well wishes. What has that been like to see that outpouring of support?
It's been very overwhelming. I mean, it's great, and I needed it. And personally, look, for me, it really hit me. You know, the joke is I don't like emotions and I don't like feelings, you know, as the big, tough Marine, but it was very nice. It was very heartwarming and, like I said, very humbling. that's my hope and my intention. I want to be back to 100%. But I'm gonna do this right. I'm gonna listen to the professionals to get as close to, if not complete 100% as I can.
And if that happens, would you expect them to be resuming the duties that you had before?
As long as I'm sheriff, he'll be there.
Can you explain what specific departments or divisions of the sheriff's office you work in?
So I run the K-9 unit, which is sending the canines and the team out to calls, conducting the training, demonstrations, things of that nature. I also run the UAV division, which is the unmanned, the drones division that we have. Project Lifesaver, which is a program we offer for individuals with Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, things of that nature. We started a new autism decal program. I run that. The social media side of the house for the sheriff's office, our website. I'm the administrator for our Axon program, which is all the TASER-related products. And I'm sure there's a few other things that I'm missing. But pretty much all of those type things I was in charge of overseeing.
It was your drone duty that took you out to the scene that day in North Dolores?
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I apologize if it's been mentioned, number of gunshot wounds and locations for that heat system.
Not to be too specific, but he had multiple gunshot wounds to his torso and lower extremities. When we initially evaluate patients with gunshot wounds, it's difficult to tell what's an initial wound versus what's a fragment wound, but several in both his torso and lower extremities.
Dr. Hazelton, as a trauma surgeon, how would you characterize the condition of that guy? From a layman's point of view, rather than a medical point of view.
So critical, and as I said, bleeding to death. His injuries were life-threatening. If he weren't brought here so quickly by medevac to a trauma center, to our trauma center, and then quickly to the operating room. And best estimates based on time, within an hour, hour and 15 minutes, he was under the care of a surgeon in an operating room. And within 45 minutes was receiving blood transfusions, and that helicopter transport, again, only 8 minutes. So if not for every step in that process, he would not be here.
I just wanted to ask you, Lieutenant Godfrey, could you speak to what you were doing as part of the drone team out there that day? You were called as part of the initial team to go out there.
Again, I can't comment on that since it is an ongoing investigation.
And then the other thing I was just wondering was, did you ever have a chance to lay eyes on Matthew Ruth that day?
Same thing, I can't comment on that right now since it is an ongoing investigation.
What are you most looking forward to now that you're going home?
For the first thing is just to sit down on my couch for 5 minutes and just sit there and quiet and just, relax for a minute. But just getting as much back to normal as possible. That's my primary goal.
I just wanted to ask you, sir, it feels like a long month since this has happened, right? With the fatalities and funeral services a few weeks ago, and the brighter news of your discharge and your colleagues' discharge. I was just wondering, as this has all played out, what's helped you most get through this past month? If there's anything you can put a name to.
It's twofold. It's the support of the community, because that has meant so much, and then just the staff at WellSpan. Everybody's been excellent at every level. You go from the doctors to the nurses' aides and everybody in between. They've been rock stars. I mean, I'd like to think I know a little bit about what good teams are, and they are excellent. So it's been awesome.
Well, you're a Marine, they gave you an order, so you followed it.
Yeah, and I gave it a little bag, right, Jolene?
Lieutenant, how well did you know Detectives Baker, Becker, and Emmenheiser, and how would you describe your relationships with them, and
you know, over the 25 years I've worked with them numerous times on different calls, the way I've explained it is they're solid guys. They were awesome at everything they did. Great guys, you know, and rock solid on everything they did. I mean, I can't really say much more than that. They were great, and it's horrible how it turned out.
All right. Again, I want to thank all of you so much for being here and being a part of this special occasion. Dave, I want to especially thank you for being so gracious, and you could have been discharged right out the back door, but understand the meaning of this to our community, to your colleagues, and especially the clinical team that has cared for you throughout this month, and that we can be a part of this with you. So thank you. It's incredible, your strength. And on behalf of everyone, I'm sure I'm speaking, I just wish you, your family, just success, continued on that journey of recovery. And yes, we do use the journey because it is a journey. So thank you for everything, and thank you for your service, truly. So let's get you home to that couch.
Have a dog at home?
We had 2 little ankle biters.
Have you got any offers from folks saying to offer you a dog?
No.
You want one?
I-
I got it.
The ones that I'm responsible for in the office keep me busy as is, so.
So at this time, we do have our clinical team from York Hospital, Surgery and Rehabilitation Hospital, outside, ready to see Dave off. So I welcome all of you to join us in that. We'll stay back, and then we will join all of you in a little while. So thank you again. Thank you.